Welcome back to another video from the Next Man Up podcast. This is episode 79. Before we get started, make sure you guys like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and follow our social medias up at the top of the screen. This is going to be a jam-packed episode. NFL free agency is on fire. It's on fire. This is one of the most memorable free agency for me in a while. Probably, maybe last year was good too, but this is one just especially like, I don't know, it was just fun to just watch everything, sit on my phone, watch everything. It was pretty fun. People moving around, a lot of big moves. Players going to rivalries and stuff like that. It's been crazy. We're gonna talk about it though. Before we get into it, let me ask my my co-host how they going. Jaden had an emergency, so he can't make it. I wish he was here. I want to hear his thoughts on everything that's going on, especially about like Justin Fields and Rusell Wilson and stuff like that. But we got Max and Q here. Max, how your day been going, bro? I know you still at school, and I'm on spring break, so.
Weather's been amazing. I can't complain. It's like when I got good weather in Michigan, like it just boosts morale. Like everyone seems happier to be outside. So weather's been nice. So it's been enjoyable to actually walk around and go to classes. But I've been glued to Twitter all day for the past 2-3 days. I've been trying to see everything I can. I fell for a fake report today where the Lions got L'Jarius Sneed. I was so sad waking up this morning. I thought it was over, but luckily it was just a fake report. I've been glued to Twitter. So free agency, I feel like NFL free agency never has this much hype. It's always like NBA free agency has like all the moves and stuff because there's less players to go around. But like Latif was saying, the switching up to like division rivals this year is insane. Like we'll talk about it later, but some of the play, insane. I don't know.
Gee, what you going, man?
I feel the same way. Can't complain. Weather nice. A bunch of things going on in sports right now. A lot of people I get to laugh at because fans would be fanatics, and they be saying the craziest of things, and it's just fun going back and forth with them. Yeah, I'm excited to get them going because.
I was gonna say quick breaking news.
Danielle Hunter, yeah,
he just signed.
He went to the Texans. Danielle Hunter signed with the Texans. That is big.
But how much?
$48 million. $48 million.
It ain't gonna be 30, bro.
2 years, 49.
How many years?
49. 2 years, 49 million.
I thought it was 4 years, 49. I was like, oh my gosh.
51 mil. So they lose Greenard, but they get back Danielle Hunter. They basically got the same player.
Texans are coming back strong. Houston's coming back strong.
It's a Texan fans. I was talking to the Discord. He was panicking after the first couple of days, like they weren't doing anything like that. But that's a great move. That's a great move, bro.
It's 48 million guaranteed. It's a 2-year 49 with 48 guaranteed.
And it has a max value of $51 million.
It's a 2-year deal. That's not bad at all. 2 years.
And he's like a tier 2 edge rusher. Last year he played like a tier 1.
Yeah, tier 2.
Who's in tier 1?
Max
Crosby,
Micah.
Yep.
Okay, right. So I'd maybe like put him like going towards 3, but still in 2. I think there's some elite pass rushers. Like I think there's like a little bit of like some 1As, 1Bs, 2As, 2Bs kind of stuff.
That's a big move though. As we recording the podcast, that happens. I want to know, Max, how do you feel about that as a Bears fan? Not getting Danielle Hunter. I know
I've told you guys this for whatever. I've told you my hold on a sec. Sorry, I had to get that text out. I've said this, whatever. I've texted in the group chat a couple times. Our biggest issues, in my opinion, is the receiver position right now, especially after losing Mooney, and still addressing the D-line, edge, D-tackle, whatever. I would like to spend the 9th overall pick, either at receiver and sign somebody. So now it'd probably be Armstead, Reeder. Who else is still?
The Dolphins got Jordan Poyer.
What?
You can go. You can get Chase Young is still on the market. He's not gonna cost you that much.
The Dolphins got Jordan Poyer, bro.
Jordan Poyer. I thought you said Joey Porter.
No, I was Jordan Poyer.
Okay, that they need help. But I would either go receiver and sign DN, or draft Dallas Turner, Brian Thomas, some DN, and sign a receiver free agency. Again, I like Tyler Boyd as a wide receiver too. I don't know. He did that role very well in Cincinnati when T or Jamar was out. He's got a lot of experience, but I do think there's other receivers I'd be fine to go with.
You don't like Chase Young?
What's up?
You don't like Chase Young?
It's a lot of the like the effort concerns, but in the Super Bowl he did show up. I just don't know if I'm really loving, especially the injuries. I don't know if I'm loving both Commanders guys on both sides of the edge. So it didn't work out in Washington, and I just don't know if it's going to work out in Chicago now.
I mean,
it depends on the money too, I guess. If you can get him on a cheaper deal, like a prove it year, but I don't think he's going to want that. He played well.
It's too crazy. Like, you don't have to exactly give him a prove it deal, and it's not like he's like he can't be productive. It's not like they didn't work in Washington. He just injuries and coming back and forth into that situation. It probably just wasn't for him.
I just don't want to lock down. We don't have to lock down anything this year. Getting Caleb, I guess if somehow Justin Fields stays, but getting Caleb, like, it's not a win now this year, right? You want to get a year and see what happens. So next year, I don't know what the edge or D tackle class looks like, but next year, if you either trade or try and sign somebody, after you kind of see what you got with Caleb, see what you got with Jalen Johnson another year in Sweat and DeAndre Swift at the running back, like, see kind of what you have there, readjust, and then like really get into what you need. Because I don't know, our picks, like last year we had some really solid draft picks, obviously. I'm just kind of waiting to see, like, it's more the later rounds. Like, I think Caleb's a guarantee, and I think a receiver's a guarantee at 9, but like obviously stuff could happen and trades could happen. But I'm more curious about the later rounds. That's where we get a guy like Jalen Johnson. That's where we get Jaquan Brisker. That's where we get Roshan. Like, it's where we kind of get some good picks. So we'll see.
All right, yeah, this wasn't the Bears subject, but I did want to ask you about that, and I get into Daniel Hunter. But
sad.
We have a lot of topics today. First one we're gonna get into though is the Falcons. They signed Kirk Cousins. It was a 4-year, $180 million deal, $90 million guaranteed. That's $62 million in 2024 and $27 million in 2025. So, how do you guys feel about this deal? Was it a great deal for the Falcons? Should they have went any other direction? What do you really feel about it? Give me your thoughts.
You want to go?
Doesn't matter.
It's essentially a 2-year deal. If they want to re-up them in 2 years, they can. But right now, it's just they just want a solid, top 15 quarterback in the room. And with all those weapons, they get an adult. It's the same system he's been running. He knows the verbiage. He knows who's in the room. He knows who's in the building. You get a solid wide receiver in Drake London. You get Darnell Mooney, who's really a 3, but he's going to be a 2, but he's really going to be a 3rd option because you still got Kyle Pitts. You got Bijan there. You got Tyler Algier. You got a good O-line, something he's rarely had. He's going to be protected enough, especially coming off the injury. The injury shouldn't really matter to anybody because it's not like he was a big mover anyway. He's going to be able to throw that thing. He's going to put up yards, and he's going to fight for winning that division. They are the favorites right now. I think they should be because they were pretty much almost the favorites last year with no quarterback. So, all in all, they did a good thing. They just got to focus on defense in the draft, but they got pretty much all the weapons they need. They got the O-line. They got the quarterback. They shouldn't have to touch offense at all. Everything goes to defense. As long as they can show up the defense, you got Raheem Morris back there. It should go from a bottom 20 defense to about middle of the pack at least, and that's going to be enough to take them from 8 wins to 10 wins, maybe 11, and they could win a division.
I don't know their schedule, so I got to see as far as like whatever, like if they got a tough or an easy schedule. But right now, I think this team has the makings to easily win the division. I like the deal. I like the signing a lot. I think having Kirk, who in the regular season for the past couple of years looked very good. Last year was putting up MVP type numbers before he got injured. He has Justin Jefferson. Obviously, it helps out a lot when you're a quarterback. The receiving room, I think you could still spend a pick on a receiver or try and sign somebody. Drake London and Darnell Mooney are solid receivers, but you obviously need one more. But having Kyle Pitts definitely helps. He's never gotten, I think, with Arthur Smith. I was just talking about it today. I blame Arthur Smith for where he's gone. I don't think Kyle Pitts is a bad tight end at all. He's underperformed, obviously, from where he was drafted. But I still think there's a lot of potential, and especially with a quarterback like Kirk Cousins, the best he's ever played with now, I think something could work. But I think defensively, there's tons of upside. Offensively, they're almost set. Again, yeah, with the O-line, having a top 5, top 7 O-line in football for the past couple of years, like, this is going to be good, and you can get an established rush game with Algier, with Bijan. Like, this situation is very, very good. And especially from Kirk's perspective, the Packers got a little better with some of their deals. I don't always agree with the running back stuff, but they got McKinney on the defensive side. The lines are still there. Hopefully the Bears can look better, but you're competing for a wild card spot at best in the NFC North. And I think in the NFC South, where it's probably the weakest division in football, They're not beating the Lions. They're not beating the Lions. You're not winning the division with Detroit there.
I know this is not like one of those. Literally, if Kirk Cousins doesn't go down, they definitely could have won 11 games. It's not like just crazy to say they could have won 11 games. It's because he went down. The reason why they didn't make no real noise in that division. How many games they won without a quarterback? Think about the games that they lost.
Yeah, Dobbs, but that was Josh Dobbs turning into like prime Tom Brady for like 2 seconds.
Not even. He didn't even play that. He didn't play that well. That game against the Raiders where they lost, it was like 6-3 or something like that.
Yeah, they probably could have beat the Bears too. But again, there's so many other things that go into it.
You can literally add 3 more wins onto that team, and they're sitting there battling with Detroit.
But
like I said,
if they re-sign Kirk, they can't spend the money in the defensive place that they did this year too. So you got to allocate that money in different positions. And I strongly don't think, I
don't necessarily think they need to. You can go through the draft, and Brian Flores he's probably a top 5 defensive play caller in the NFL.
I agree.
Like you don't need to allocate that much money to defense. Which is why they let Danielle Hunter just walk, because he got the most out of them with what they had. So they would have definitely been in competition for the division.
I strongly think that's fine, but I guess for me it's an uphill battle. I don't like. Last year I didn't believe in them. I get Kirk got injured. You can say what you want, but you're in a division now where the winner had 9 wins, right? And that was Baker and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers like scraping 9 wins together, and everyone else having like 8. So I think the Panthers are still bad. I think the Saints are bad. We'll see about the Bucs, but I think the Falcons are easily the best team in the division and could definitely win that and get a home playoff game, which is huge.
I like the signing. He has ties in Atlanta. Raheem Morris was in Washington when he was there. Zach Robinson runs the same schemes as Sean McVay, who obviously has ties to Washington and Kyle Shanahan. So he's super, super familiar with the system. The deal is not that bad as far as on the average year. It is front loaded as well. But I think with Kirk Cousins, you do have a ceiling, especially since he's making so much money. I don't know how great of a team they're going to be to build around him. And I think they'll be able to win like a playoff game, probably win like 11, 12 games. But is he going to win your Super Bowl? I don't think so. For some teams, that's good enough, though. Competing in the playoffs, being relevant, not having Desmond Ridder as your quarterback every single year, that's enough for some teams. It's a good move, but does it put him in championship contention? No. Is it moving the needle? Probably. Obviously he's going to win you 4 more games, maybe get you a home playoff game, but I don't think it makes them. They're not better than the Lions. I don't think they're going to be better than the 49ers or the Eagles coming up this season. So the Packers are going to be a really good team, I think. The Bears, Caleb Williams, they're going to have a really good team this year, I think. So the NFC is going to keep getting better. The Falcons are getting better, but I don't know if it puts them over the top. So it's kind of like it's a good move, but just doesn't push the needle to the furthest it can be pushed. That's my take on it for sure. And it just closes another landing spot for Justin Fields, which is pretty depressing to watch. Like the lights go out on his. I don't know, man. Maybe we'll talk about it another day as far as Justin Fields or his landing spots. Maybe we probably get an answer. We can talk about it. But I don't want to get into that.
I'm not getting into it, but like, hear me out. Would it be insane? Would it be insane if he went to the Chiefs and just sat behind Mahomes?
All right.
Yes.
Like, it is so. I want him to go to a quarterback competition, and currently, like, the only ones I can think of is like the Raiders and the Seahawks. I don't want him to go to the Raiders. I'm okay with the Seahawks. The Vikings, I don't know how serious Jefferson was talking about that. It is terrible, I think, how there's like zero market after everything. I think the Falcons made the right choice right now. I think to win now, they do that. But like, some of these other teams are just confusing to me.
On the Justin Fields Vikings point, if he somehow ends up goes there and then he fails with Kevin O'Connell and all those weapons, then you could legitimately say it's on him. But like,
that's gonna be the worst if he balls out against us. If he balls out against us, it's gonna be so sad. But
the Vikings don't even care about in-division nonsense because TJ Hawkinson came from the Lions. So I don't think that division thing really matters. If you don't think he's good for you, then he's just not good for you. It shouldn't matter what he does after you. I don't want to rehash this whole Vikings last year situation, but Kirk Cousins went down against the Packers. Do you know the games that they lost with Jared Hall and Joshua Dobbs? A 24-27 overtime loss to the Bengals against Jake Browning. Kirk wins that game. He wins at least one of those Detroit games because without those games, they only lost by 1 score. He beats the Bears, he beats the Broncos, and he probably cracks Green Bay again. That's 5 wins. With those 5 wins, that puts him at winning the division. I'm just saying, if Kirk doesn't go down, those games are won. And they're gonna do the same thing they did the year before, but Kirk Cousins went down. Like that. If we're gonna act like he wasn't gonna win those games, now we not being serious. Like we just not being serious. We just trolling right now.
Games still got to be played, and the division. I don't think you can just chalk up a division game to a win. I think division games are a lot harder. Like especially Detroit.
Kirk Cousins be beating these teams. You must have forgot that Kirk Cousins be beating these teams. Yeah, he beats the Packers every year with Aaron Rodgers, without Aaron Rodgers.
The Bears normally get a win against them every
year. They weren't beating them. They lost the game 10-12.
Again, I'm just saying. You
think Kirk Cousins ain't scoring more than 12?
First of all,
you just said he was playing like an MVP.
To say they beat the Lions twice, I think is crazy. I don't think that happened.
I said they beat them at least once.
Yeah, I don't know. Detroit was good. I still think Detroit's
the best. Let's be serious right now. They lost. The Detroit Lions lost to the Bears. Come on, let's be serious, please, though.
What are we talking?
That's a real team.
You see what I'm saying, but we're not being honest.
Last year they were not. No,
I don't think. I get it. Kirk is a much better.
You said he was playing like you
much better quarterback than Hall.
Forget all of that. Forget all about that. What you said earlier. He playing like an MVP. You said he was playing like an MVP, but he's going to lose this game.
Justin Jefferson went down.
And he was going to cook with Jordan Addison. He went down while Kirk Cousins was playing, and he was using Jordan Addison and getting dubs. Kirk Cousins literally went down, and he was playing like an MVP. That had nothing to do with anything. Don't try to use that.
I think just to say they're just gonna find it. KJ Osborne turns into the next Jordan Addison. Like I don't know. I think
Jordan Addison, and TJ Hawkinson were cooking, bro. You don't gotta do that.
That was Justin Jefferson. It was Kirk throwing them to the
Yes.
I don't.
Let's move on. Let's move on.
To wins.
They were competed in the division. I don't know who you think Lions are, especially last year. That's kind of crazy. Lions would be better this year, but they were. Let's move on. The Eagles, they added Saquon Barkley and Bryce Huff. Saquon Barkley was, I believe, 3 years, $37 million with $26 million guaranteed. Bryce Huff was 3 years, $51 million with $34 million guaranteed. Do you think these moves put them back into contention in the NFC? And do these moves make you more confident they're going to win a championship next season? I'm going to start with Q.
No. And it's not because Saquon's not a great player. It's not because Bryce Huff is not a great pass rusher. They added 2 things that they did not need and weren't an issue. Pass rush wasn't an issue. You got 7 pass rushers on your team. You got 2 that you're trying to trade away, and they're just as good as Bryce Huff. Running back production wasn't your issue. You had a Pro Bowler with DeAndre Swift this year. You had a Pro Bowler with Miles Sanders the year before. You don't need a great running back to produce yards out the backfield. You don't need that. You didn't need offense. Of all your problems, running back and pass rusher were like dead last on the list. You need linebacker, you need safety and corner. They should have spent their resources on that. Not to say those are bad moves, but those aren't the moves that they needed to contend because the reason why they were losing because they could not stop anybody, like at all. Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs had a bad year when it was going crazy on them. The Cowboys go crazy on them. Look at the back half of that year. You can look at the whole year, even up until even last year. They can't defend the back end. They get thrown on all the time. They can stop the run here and there, but they get thrown on. They always lose getting thrown on. And they didn't address that. They didn't address nothing to help over the middle. They didn't address nothing on the back end. They just fortified things that they were already doing great at, but weren't the reason why they were losing games. So it doesn't make no sense to me. They were good signings, not much needed signings. It's like it could be 2 things at the same time, and that's just what it is.
I like Saquon. I think that it is obviously an upgrade over. It's obviously an upgrade over DeAndre Swift, especially with their all-line. Saquon's just a better running back than majority of running backs in the league. So obviously that helps out. Money-wise, is it worth it? I don't know. I saw the Bryce Huff signing, and I'm seeing like a decent amount of hate about it. And I kind of agree because like they're not addressing secondary. And there's like some guys to go out and get. Like I keep seeing Justin Simmons maybe going there. You had a Jordan Poyer option. Like there are people still to go get. Maybe not at the cornerback position as much. Like Kenny Moore just got signed, obviously, but like, would it not have been smarter to just try and look at the secondary position? I don't know. Stealing Saquon from an in division guy, like cool, but like the Giants weren't doing anything anyways. Like I think it just kind of keeps them where they were. Like I don't think it really moves me to where I'm like they're better than San Fran. I don't think they are. So it's like good moves. They pop off the paper, but like they're not moving me a whole lot right now.
I think Saquon Barkley can have the same impact as a CMC on this offense, just with his ability to rush the ball, obviously catch the ball out the backfield. And yes, they got production from DeAndre Swift last year. Yes, they got production from Miles Sanders as well, but every yard is not the same. All production is not the same. I think Saquon Barkley is a top 4 running back in this NFL. Yes, I saw that from UQ. So I think they're gonna add pieces in a draft to make this defense better. And I think this is gonna be one of the moves where we look back and we like, Eagles are back in the Super Bowl because they got a Saquon Barkley, because they got a Bryce Huff to add to a young pass rush who probably going to trade Montez Sweat and Hassan Reddick. So I think it's not the move. Josh Sweat, my bad. My bad, Josh Sweat. It's not the move to put them over the top, but when you look back, it's going to be a CMC type move where it elevates their offense to another level. I think the offense last year was stale. It wasn't the biggest issue, but it was an issue. And I forgot who they hired as the offensive coordinator. Kellen Moore.
So now you see the conundrum. I understand your premise on the CMC thing because obviously the next best thing from CMC is Saquon. You can argue Saquon was a better prospect. You can't argue he was a better prospect than CMC. He could do the same things as a CMC. Obviously, right now he's not better than CMC, but he's like 85% at least. And you're right about the whole like all yards not the same because he can also go back there and still give you what DeAndre Swift had this year. It was 1,000 and some change, not really like 12. It was like 1,000 and some change and five touchdowns. Saquon can have those same 1,000 and change and 5 touchdowns, but everything looks a lot different because Devontae Smith is getting easier looks. AJ Brown getting easier looks. Dallas Goedert getting easier looks. Like the field will just be much more open because you can't just stack the box. You can't spot. You can't do certain things because he draws a certain amount of attention. Because San Fran, they were able to operate and get a running game with any running back. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, we could just get any running back. But CMC is just a different type of running back. His yards, his production is just a different type of production. You feel me? And that's what maybe the route is not to, lock down teams, but for a fact you could outscore teams. You could play ball control, and 9 times out of 10, every team is not going to score all the time on the Eagles. It doesn't really happen. They usually score on teams. As long as they could get up fast and just put their pass rush out there, that's just what they're going to do. So it kind of does help. But I don't think that's what they should have did.
Like, maybe it's just me. I don't think I'm hating, but like Saquon's like nowhere near the pass catcher though that CMC is. So
that's not
blaming
true. That's not true.
I mean, like I'm just looking at the past 2 years stats where you're playing the same amount of games. So I'm saying like you could blame scheme.
Do you know what Saquon did his rookie year?
Yeah, his rookie year. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. But he hasn't done that since.
He had a better quarterback, a real quarterback that could throw passes.
In 2020, he only played 2 games. But since then, he hasn't got over, 80 targets?
You got to think about who's getting the ball from.
I don't know. CMC does not do that every year. I just think impact-wise, like, CMC is just more versatile, but I don't know. I don't think
the point was to compare CMC and Saquon. I mean, we're not saying that he's better anymore.
The gap between them is not far at all. Rushing and receiving.
I said Saquon, it's a CMC. They can have a CMC type impact on the offense. I didn't say he was CMC.
I don't know if you can plug and play like this, but do you think Saquon is in an offensive player of the year rookie or MVP conversation if he's on San Fran?
Yes.
Probably. Like I said, the gap between them two as players, like as just straight ability, is not far. Like just as prospects, Saquon was clearly better. You should
coming out of college.
Yeah, because his skill set is probably the best we've ever seen as running back. Production is a little bit different, but a lot of things go into that. Bro's playing on the
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if you're blaming the quarterback position like Daniel Jones, but
I mean the quarterback, the system, and the team. Chris McCaffrey's in San Francisco, bro.
He
What
did
he's doing in San Francisco, he still wasn't doing that like as in totality in Carolina. He did 1 year. That
He was
1 year
a
when he went
ceiling, bro.
1,000. Like he didn't have 1,400 rushing yards and he had 12. Like I mean, he
But he
was
also had
the
more
main.
injuries than Saquon. He also dealt with more injuries than Saquon. So I mean, you could whatever.
I mean, they pretty much the same player. Just one is in a better situation. So he's gonna put up better numbers. So he's just gonna look better.
Yeah, I don't know.
Not saying that Saquon is better than him, but I'm just saying like the gap shouldn't be. It's like this, not like this.
All right, let's move on. Bryce Huff signing is good. He's a good. I think he's like a tier 2, tier 3, maybe edge rusher in the league. But again, I agree with Q that they didn't need that. To be honest, they have that. And it's young edge rushers as well. But I think they're gonna. I trust Howie. I'm not gonna lie, I do. I trust Howie to build a good team. Even though they kind of like on paper last year, we like they won free agency, they won a draft. On paper, they did last year. Like, but Howie can't control how players go out there and play. He can't. So
that's why I said what I said about let's not say they won because like it's the names and the name. The production got to match it in for it to really be a win. All in all, it's a good move. And like we could trust Howie. Like he's gonna go out in a draft. He's gonna pull off some magic. He's gonna get exactly what they need. They still got money. They could still go out there, get a Justin Simmons and another corner, and then lock this whole thing down. And then we're not really saying much. You know what I'm saying? They could go get a Devin White and somebody else to put next to him, and then we're not saying much because they got really 2 holes to fill that they could do in the draft. I'm just as of right now, I think they should have did other things first before doing that.
All right, let's move on to another move. Steelers signed Rusell Wilson. This happened a few days ago, but we're not going to talk about it. I kind of want to go first on this topic. For me, the Steelers signing Rusell Wilson did not move me one bit at all. Like, not even close. I honestly think the Steelers are basically sabotaging themselves because they consistently stay in mediocrity. Will this team make the playoffs? Probably. Could they win a playoff game? Maybe. But because Mike Tomlin and the Steelers have this winning they have this winning atmosphere, winning what is that called? What's that word I'm looking for?
Culture.
Yes. They have this winning culture. They don't want to be bad ever. They're gonna be stuck in this place in the AFC where they're truly not competing. Russell Wilson is not a good quarterback anymore. He's not. I hate to say it like that, but he's just not a good quarterback anymore. Last year, Sean Payton really coddled him. A lot of his passes were 5 yards or behind the line of scrimmage. Like he led the league in both of those stats. So I don't think he's a good quarterback anymore. I don't think he really pushed the ball down the field that great anymore. He will have some great weapons. He's going to have a great back. The Steelers' offensive line should be improving, especially with their first-round draft pick this year. But I don't think the Steelers are going to be good. I think it's actually hurting them more than it's helping them for them to just be 10-7, 9-8 every single year. I think they should have been bad probably last season where they had a good pick in this year's draft to get a quarterback. Because next year, it's not even going to serve them to be bad either. Because I don't think Shedeur is a franchise-chasing quarterback, and I don't think Quinn Ewers is either. So it's like they're stuck in this mediocrity place for me. And so that's why I didn't like to move at all, to be honest. Is it an upgrade over Kenny Pickett? Sure. But you can literally get it's so many quarterbacks that can upgrade over Kenny Pickett. And this also just kind of says they're going to quit on Kenny Pickett. So I didn't really like the move at all, to be honest. Obviously, it's an upgrade. People can say, like, I saw some Steelers fans saying, what are you going to do? Play Kenny Pickett? Yeah, y'all would have been trash, maybe, possibly. Like, I don't know. I think I just don't like teams staying in this mediocrity space or a space where they can't contend. They also won't be bad either. So it's like they're stuck in the middle. What do you guys think on it?
I think even guaranteeing the playoffs, like you said, they're probably going to make the playoffs. I don't know. Like, Joe Burrow's back, so the Bengals get back up there. The Browns are still a threat. I think the Chargers, with all their retooling, maybe Jim Harbaugh can do something. You still have Jacksonville to make the playoffs. Like, there's a couple teams who are going to be competing. Like, I don't think it's this easy guarantee that they're making the playoffs like last year. Like, I don't. So, I agree. There's not much you could have done. So I'm glad they did something. It's a 1-year deal. The biggest issue is still their O-line. Their O-line is still not good. They need to do stuff with that, draft, sign, whatever. Solid receiving core, good running back, like a good running back room. They need to address the O-line. I think that's as far as it'll go right now. Keep in mind, they still did sign Arthur Smith. So I'm not trusting that offense with Arthur Smith at the helm as well. So
can I say something? Arthur Smith literally is the
it's fine. He pissed me off last year.
Hold on. Before we go,
Thank you, Chief. Go ahead.
Arthur Smith is a good OC, but that's one. Literally, he's not the head coach. OC and head coach is a different thing. He didn't have a quarterback. He didn't have a quarterback. Let's be serious. But also, Arthur Smith targets the middle of the field the most out of like a lot of coordinators, coaches. And what's Rusell Wilson was not? What is it? He can't throw it to the middle of the field. So it's like this is not even a clean fit. It's really not, like in all totality. But yes, Arthur Smith has got a bad rap for what he did in the Falcons, but he was a good OC on the Titans. He was.
For what, 2 years, right?
Nah, he was there for 3. He was there for 3.
He was there from 2019 to 2020 as the OC.
You sure? Oh, no, he did get the
2019. He bounced around from different positions, but he was 2019 and 2020. That's fine. That's cool, I guess. Maybe he rekindles that. But with the tools and with the shit you had in Atlanta, to play football like that is crazy. So again,
play football like what?
Do you want to rewatch the games? I have Bijan on my fantasy team.
He was literally trying to coach around his quarterbacks.
Like, but it's for years. You draft 2 offensive, like generational, damn near offensive prospects, and Kyle Pitts and Bijan. And Bijan had some great when he looked good. He looked good, and then it's just
he produce points?
Who
did he produce? Did his offense produce touchdowns? They did.
Did theirs?
They produced. Yeah, they produced touchdowns. They produced yards. They got production without having a quarterback. People got upset with Arthur Smith because he wasn't using Bijan and he wasn't using Pitts. The offense was pretty good the year before that. He just also didn't have a quarterback. Just because he didn't use Pitts doesn't mean he had a bad offense. He just didn't use Pitts.
The run game too, like it makes no sense to have Tyler Algier out carry double, triple Bijan and carries. If that's your game plan, I guess. But they lost.
Who had the most yards? Who had the most yards between Algier and Bijan this year?
Probably Bijan.
Yeah,
but Atlanta was the 26.
And also, if he has more yards, why are you not giving him more carries?
Atlanta was the 26th ranked. Atlanta was the 26th ranked offense this year. They were the 26th ranked offense, I believe. As far as points per game, they were the 26th ranked. They were a bad offense this year. But year before that, I don't know.
Without a quarterback. Huh?
Yeah, they didn't have a quarterback. So I'm not.
Other teams I feel like produce. I mean, where's the offensive points? Let's see. Pull up the list.
Oh, so 2022 they were 15th, and 2023 they were 26th.
With Marcus Mariota, Desmond Ridder, Taylor Heineke. My bad, bro.
Chicago was 19th, and people say we don't have a quarterback.
But with less talent, when he was in Tennessee, all he had was Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill, and he basically won the division.
Indy was 11th. New Orleans was 10th.
What year is this?
This year.
Well, I think, to be honest, like they have a significant upgrade at quarterback, I want to say. Like Desmond Ridder is really bad. Also, I would say Shane Steichen is just a much better coordinator than Arthur Smith. I think he is.
Shane Steichen was responsible somewhat. Well, no, he's fully responsible for Justin Herbert's rookie year. He was responsible for Jalen Hurts. He was responsible for Gardner Minshew and what it was looking like the first 3 years of Anthony Richardson. So we know for a fact Shane Steichen is one of the best OCs in the league right now. I mean, he's literally responsible for a lot of different things. That doesn't mean Arthur Smith is bad.
Who was 11th? Who was 11th?
You said the Saints.
Saints were 10. Saints were 10.
I have a hard time believing that. I don't know. That's crazy.
They were in shootouts.
All right.
And then the Steelers ain't it. They're not making the playoffs this year. I said they were last year, and I turned out to be right, but that was just like for other reasons. This year is just not gonna happen. The Chargers ain't gonna miss out again. The Texans, nah.
I don't think the Chargers make the playoffs this year. Honestly, they got a lot of work to do. They still got a couple of years.
I trust it, but like you said, the Jaguars and the AFC South might get 2 out of there, maybe 3. You never know. Like I said, the Chiefs and the Chargers both can make it. Definitely the Chiefs. The Bills gonna make it, but Miami still won 10 games last year. 10 games the Steelers go 10-7 and not make it. Like there's the Jets, if everything come together for them and things go right, they could win 10 games. So the Steelers they're not gonna do it. Like I don't
Jets
think it's the year. They're like Miami to me. That whole Magic thing is gonna run out eventually, and they're gonna have to think back and realize like, all right, let's just be bad now real quick, and then we can get good. 2 years from now, because you got to play the long game sometimes, especially with how these quarterbacks are playing. 2 years from now, Lamar's older, Patrick's older, Joe Burrow's going to be 30. I mean, you think for the future. You don't got to think about right now.
I ain't gonna lie, man. It's just a bad year to be bad next year. I feel like as far as quarterback play, like I like Shedeur, but I like Shedeur. Obviously for obvious reasons, but like I'm not a fan of Quinn Ewers at all, honestly. But I just don't think it's worth it taking next year.
You're saying it's like not a sell the farm, sell the franchise in order to mortgage.
No, neither one of them. No.
Who's in 2 years?
Arch Manning, I think possibly. No, he wouldn't be there.
Yeah.
Arch Manning, he will, but he'll have 1 year of production. Like we won't even know if he's really like him or not. But anyways, the Ravens also signed Derrick Henry. This came out of nowhere. It was rumored.
I don't say out of nowhere. I feel like this has been rumored for a little bit. I feel like the Ravens.
Okay, my bad.
We tried to trade from mid-season. They just
my bad. Not out of nowhere, but I did. It was like, oh my god! Well, obviously, you had that shock factor because it's Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. Lamar finally gets a top running back. Well, he had a top running back, but what was the bro name that got injured?
J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah, J.K. Dobbins.
He's not a.
Is he coming back? By the way,
J.K. Dobbins was probably a top 8 running back at one point.
Ooh, I don't know what time that was.
Let me look, man.
I watched J.K. Dobbins.
I think he probably was, man.
He has great flashes for when he's on the field. He plays like, I can give him the whole workload, and then he gets hurt.
Wait a minute, he only got 1,000 yards. He only has 1,300 yards for his career.
He does not play, bro. He's always hurt.
I might be thinking
he never was ever on but when he plays, it's like, he looked like he could be a top running back in the league. He just never played more than 6 games.
Yeah.
He played 15 games in his rookie year and had 800 yards. That's probably, I don't know. That's not top 8 though. That's my bad on that. But anyways, let me see. So do you guys think that with this deal, obviously getting Derrick Henry, that the Ravens are back? Well, they were never out of contention, but this obviously makes them better. How confident are you guys that they can make the Super Bowl, get over the hump against the Chiefs now that they have Derrick Henry?
There's no. I want people to understand. There's no move that's gonna get you over the Chiefs. Like there's no move that you can make that's gonna get you over the Chiefs. It's all the teams that they face, so like the Chiefs playing the Bills, it's pretty evenly matched based on how the game is played. Ravens and the Chiefs, if you saw the game, it's pretty in terms of roster and players, it's pretty evenly matched. You can see even as the course of the game be close, within one score. You just got to be able to make the plays. It's just Patrick Mahomes is making that one extra play that the other quarterback's not making. So it's not no play that you can add that's going to be like, I think we're going to get over the Chiefs. But there's a play that you can add to make it easier. Like the Ravens always have a top rushing attack, but they don't have a top workload running back. Like same thing with Christian McCaffrey and the Niners. You got somebody that just makes the offense easier. So things might be the workload for Lamar gets less and less. He now does not have to be the leading rusher for his team for the 4th year in a row. You know what I'm saying? And he garners a lot of attention. So in a red zone, things might look a lot easier. This helps Mark Andrews. This helps Zay Flowers. This helps Rashad. Like you said, you open everything up because you got to account for Derrick Henry. You're going to have to stack the box to be able to stop him behind that O-line, behind that scheme. And that just leaves everybody else one-on-one. They're never going to be able to see that type of space like before, but now they can. Things will look a lot easier. Maybe Lamar's passing numbers get up. They get quicker scores. They can rest easier. In the playoffs, I still expect them to win the division, but there's nothing that's going to get them over the Chiefs except for themselves just being better. Like Lamar has to make one more play, two more plays.
For me, it's kind of what you said, but it's just Lamar. Like, you could put whoever you want around there, but it's all up to Lamar. If he wants to get in the playoffs and start making those plays, like, that is the difference between every other team and the Chiefs, in my opinion, is Mahomes makes those plays when he needs to. He could have a terrible game, but he makes the plays when he needs to. So, to be honest, again, you could put whoever you want around Lamar. Lamar has all the talent in the world. He just needs to make the plays that are going to win the games in the that are going to win him the playoff games he needs to win. Win the division in regular season, that's cool. But, like, it's all on him. You could put top receivers next to him. You could put an amazing O-line and running backs, and, like, it's all great, and it helps a lot for sure during the regular season, during all the times not on the field, whatever. But, like, Lamar needs to make the plays, and he needs to be the guy who's, like, winning the games to the Ravens. Passing, throwing, whatever. Like, that's all, like, in my opinion, that's all it is. So I think the signing's great. 2 years is not bad. I think when you start getting those long-term contracts, it's bad, but 2 years is not terrible. Yeah, it's all up to Lamar, in my opinion. So if he can make the plays this year, why not make the Super Bowl? But until he starts doing some stuff in the playoffs, until he can beat the Chiefs, it's just like that's the only thing for me. Like, anybody could get injured, they could sign anybody, they could trade anybody, but it needs to be Lamar who's making the game-winning plays to put them over the top.
I think this move, it doesn't put them over the Chiefs for me, but when we saw this game this past postseason, the reason they didn't win the game is because they stopped running the ball. I feel like, personally, they stopped running the ball. It was working pretty well. You can give some credit to the Chiefs. They loaded the box. They, threw some
it was a spag scheme.
Yes.
Like spag scheme makes it look like you have to pass the ball.
Always trying to say some words, bro, and I'll be forgetting. They threw some designs at them.
Yeah, that's what they did to the Bills. Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, so it makes you want to pass the ball when they really want you to pass. Like, the Chiefs want you to pass, and you think they want you to pass. So they already expecting to pass, but the way they line up, where everybody pinch close, is like, oh, all right, I'm not going to run the ball. I mean, that's what happens. They make you get out of the things that you really should want to do to them, because that's, if anything, that Chiefs have a weakness at is stopping a run. Like, they still don't successfully stop the run, but when they scheme up like that, it makes you not have to want to run on them. So now they don't have to stop the run. But yeah, you also right. They stopped running the ball. If they ran the ball, they would have won that game regardless if it was Gus Edwards or Derrick Henry. But with Derrick Henry, you feel more confident to run the ball anyway against a stacked box, because he does it regardless. He did it with the worst rated run blocking offensive line last year and was second in yards. So what you think he's going to do with the Baltimore Ravens? And that game could look a lot different.
The fact of the matter is, this past postseason, they lost because they stopped running the ball. And now that they have Derrick Henry, who had 1,500 yards last season with a terrible offensive line, and who the Ravens are number one in yards before contact in the NFL, they're going to have a good to great offensive line, and they're going to have Derrick Henry there. It makes them that much dangerous. And even if they load the box, they can send 6. They can send the whole entire team. Derrick Henry is going to get yards after contact. He's still a wrecking ball, even though he's declined. So I think that gives them an advantage against almost every single team in the entire NFL, and they should be back in the AFC Championship game playing in the Super Bowl. Like, if they don't, I think at this point we're going to have to start making excuses for Lamar, because we know he doesn't have weapons in the passing game. But when you have a weapon like that in the backfield with Mark Andrews, with Zay Flowers, there are no more excuses for you guys not to get it done. So I think it puts him closer to being the Chiefs, a lot closer, I would say, because Derrick Henry has been healthy for the most part in his career. He's not Gus Edwards, not J.K. Dobbins who get injured. He's not any of the other wide receivers or running backs that the Ravens have who gets injured a lot. So personally, I feel like if he's on the field, they should be the second favorite in the entire AFC to win a Super Bowl, because you obviously got to give that respect to Patrick Mahomes. But at any point we get to the season, they're like 13-2. They should be the favorites to win a Super Bowl. That's what I feel like, depending on where the Chiefs are. So I think it moves the needle for me a lot for the Ravens. 2 years, $16 million, $9 million guaranteed, but they can get to $20 million, I think, with incentives as well. So I think Derrick Henry took a pay cut, to be honest, just to try to win. I think he could have got more from other places, probably, especially for like the Texans. He definitely got more money. But I think he just took a pay cut because he knew he wanted to go to the Ravens. We can move on from that, though. We have T. Higgins requesting a trade. They franchise tag T. Higgins. What is the best landing spot for T. Higgins?
It depends. But if it's like for him, if it's strictly like money and targets, it's Carolina because they need T. Higgins. Obviously, he's not a high-end wide receiver one, but he'd be the best receiver on the Panthers, and they need anything they could get. He'd instantly be their best receiver. Somebody, he's 6'4", great catch radius. He doesn't have to be the best route runner. You just got to throw it up to him. He most likely gonna get it, and that's what you need with a young quarterback. They can give him the money, they can give him the contract, the years, and whatnot, and he gonna get the targets. Other than that, Arizona maybe, but Arizona are gonna draft their wide receiver. They could use another one, but Michael Wilson was cool last year. Other than that, I don't really see it. The Texans could have did it, but they're cool with the two that they got, and if they wanted to, they could get somebody out the draft. Carolina is the best, the best spot, that the most easiest, location to get. They could get a second round pick, or they could give up a second round pick for a wide receiver that they know for a fact is better than whoever they get out the draft, right here today. Other than that, it's pretty slim.
All the realistic options I think are boring. Like Carolina's obviously I think the most realistic option. It's just not fun. I think more fun options that I think so. First of all, it's not gonna happen because of money wise, but pairing up with Garrett Wilson in New York would be cool. I'd hate it, but going to Green Bay, if he could be Jordan Love's number one guy, they haven't had a number one since Devontae. So pairing him up with Jaden Reed and Christian Watson, I think makes sense. My favorite, and again, it's not going to happen because they're so stuck in cap hell, but the Chargers. If they could unload those contracts somehow and trade for T. Higgins, he's Herbert's number one. But besides that, it's really there's no teams where it's he said he wants to play for the Texans. Not going to happen. The Jags would make sense, but they might re-sign Calvin Ridley. They don't need him. It's Carolina and Carolina alone at this point in time. But I think other fun options would be cool. It's just a matter of if Green Bay, are they going to pay for him? Can San Diego or can LA get out of cap in order to get him? I think it'll be a surprise team, to be honest, just because the only team I'm really expecting to actually go for him is Carolina.
I think we're going to be really surprised to see that T. Higgins doesn't have much of a market because he got to pay for him pretty soon. We may have to see where he doesn't even eventually get traded. I think somewhere like New England, if they drafted Jaden Daniels instead of Marvin Harrison, that could be an option. I think that's going to be the best landing spot for him because they can draft Jaden Daniels and then trade for T. Higgins. They pay him his money because they're not really paying anybody or something like that. That could be an option for sure. I would draft Marvin Harrison Jr., but I can see them convincing themselves. They got Jacoby Brissett. They can sit Jaden Daniels to start behind Jacoby Brissett, or just let Jacoby Brissett mentor him, then trade for T. Higgins. They get him a weapon because you don't want to sit him in that fire without a weapon, at least. So I think the Patriots are going to be probably the best landing spot for him. I wanted to say who else? The Texans probably don't need him. Who else?
It's to be honest, I think it is a little contingent on Calvin Ridley. The Patriots and the Jaguars, the two teams going for Calvin Ridley. I don't think the Pats find Calvin Ridley. I
don't think the Jaguars are going to do it. I don't think they are.
They don't need to.
For T.
That's what I'm saying. That's fine. But that's with the Patriots. You're still waiting to see what they're going to do. If they sign Calvin Ridley, I don't think they double up and spend big money on T as well. They've never done that.
Detroit could low-key do it. Detroit could low-key sign T. Higgins. Trade a little. Yeah, they could low-key trade a little second for T. Higgins. I think they have other needs for sure, but it wouldn't be the worst thing. You got Amon-Ra St. Brown.
They don't have a second this year to give him though. I don't think they got a second this year to give him.
Will they not be giving the second for Snead this year?
Did they give up the second to go get Carlton Davis? Or was that a third?
Third. I think it was a
third. That was third.
I don't think I think you spend more money on the secondary, or I think you spend more money on the defensive side. I don't think they really need another receiver.
They have draft assets. A lot of them.
But I don't think you have to re-sign T. Then I don't think they want to spend their money as another receiver.
They're about to give Amon-Ra some money.
Sure.
Next year they're gonna have to.
You can get away with signing a Tyler Boyd and getting the same sort of need.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. They believe in J-Mo. So they definitely might not sign him. They have a top offense without him. So
you have Laporta and Brock Wright. You have a great receiving back in Jahmyr Gibbs. You have Monty. I don't think receiver is necessarily of need. I think the Packers are the team that I would love him to go to the Bears, right? But that's not going to happen. We're not going to sign him. I think the Packers honestly make sense. I think T could go there. They have a good group of receivers, but they don't have a number one guy. Watson,
but
Dobbs.
The gap between Watson, Dobbs, and J.R. Reed and Dontavian Wicks, like it's not the gap between whoever you think is the best out of those four. There's not a big gap between him and T. Higgins. Like if Christian Watson's healthy, he could put up the same type of numbers that T. Higgins might put up at being the number one. Same thing with J.R. Reed. Same thing with Romeo Dobbs.
I think especially with Dobbs and Dontavian Wicks, I think that's crazy. But I think
they already got chemistry. Dontavian Wicks, if you look at his advanced numbers, he gets open. He's going to get the targets. Like if they threw it to him every time, he's probably having a 100-yard game every game. They just don't throw to him because they got a bunch of people to throw to.
I think having Reed is good, really good as a receiver just because he's fast. I think Christian Watson helps. He's fast. He's big. Romeo Dobbs has good games and then terrible games, like back to back. I think T would definitely be the wide receiver one. I think he could help that team out, but they went for an overhaul.
Right. We're staying on the topic of T. Higgins. We're going to be doing a T. Higgins Would You Rather. I'm going to give you guys 5 names, and you tell me would you rather T. Higgins or this wide receiver. So first up, let me go my notes. My bad, y'all. First up, T. Higgins or Devontae Smith.
Give me T. Higgins. I'm starting controversy. Give me T. Higgins.
I'll go with T as well.
Y'all are tripping. All right, let's be serious right now. I'm not gonna lie. It's a lot of stuff that Devontae Smith I think does better than T. Higgins. I think T. Higgins is more physically imposing. He's 6'4". He can go. Big. That's important big as a receiver. Contested catches, but I think Devontae Smith is also good at contested catches. He's a lot better route runner. I feel like his hands are also a lot better. I'm going Devontae Smith. I think he's better than T. Higgins, and also his production is also better. So I'm going Devontae Smith. I think that one was kind of easy, to be honest. Next up is Mike Evans.
It's Mike Evans.
I'm waiting for you to say.
I know the same person.
You have Devontae Smith over Mike. They're
the same person, but Mike Evans is better than both of those. The people that we just talked about. Mike Evans is better than Devontae Smith.
Mike Evans over Smitty?
Huh?
You have Mike Evans over? Are you have Smitty over Mike Evans?
No, I don't. I'm just saying that. I was just saying they're the same person, bro. I was saying who's better.
Yeah, they're the same. They're the same style of player. Yeah, like they're the same exact type of player.
I would go Mike Evans too, though. Just
I'm waiting for Jalen Waddle. I think you threw Jalen Waddle on this list.
I did not. Next name up is Michael Pittman.
T. Higgins. Also the same type of player.
I don't know.
That's why I put him on the list.
I'll go. Pittman was.
Pittman was good.
Yeah. He was bad. He wasn't great 2 years ago, but he picked it up last year. I'd probably rather have T on my team than Pittman. I'll go with T.
I would agree with it. They're the same type of like wide receiver, but Pittman's production is not enough where he's clearing them as a wide receiver one option. He was like 1,100 yards last year. I'm gonna go T. Higgins. I think he's better at what he does.
I want to put T on Carolina, and then we can kind of see them both being the wide receiver one. Because I think T having Jamar helps out a lot. Obviously, that takes a lot of coverage off for it. That can help out. I would be.
I think that as well. But when Jamar Chase went down, he still performed. When Jamar Chase went down,
but you can say the same thing. When T. Higgins went down, Tyler Boyd did the same thing. So
as rookies, T was better. The second year, T was better. Third year, T was better. It was only last year that Michael Pittman was better, but Michael Pittman was also getting the targets, and T. Higgins missed 5 games. So Pittman has never been better than T. Higgins at all.
We're going for this upcoming year, though. So
the Steelers just traded Deontay Johnson to the Carolina Panthers. So Bryce Young gets another weapon.
Why did Pittsburgh trade him?
They were trying to trade him for like 2 days now.
I wanted to.
They're gonna have to pay him soon again, or re him up. Carolina could give him that bread if they want to give him that bread, and Steelers could draft a wide receiver. They're one of the best wide receivers get drafted teams that we ever seen.
Where is T going? Where is T going now?
He could still go there.
Yeah, but they don't have that much. They use a lot of money this year. They used a lot of cap space this year, and they signed Adam Thielen last year.
He's on 1 year left. He's not really important to
me. You got Thielen, T, and Deontay.
Deontay is making like $3 million. I think he ain't making that much money.
But you got to resign him.
Yeah, you're gonna have to pay him soon if you want. But it's not like he's not gonna command $25 million.
But they signed Hunt. Didn't they sign Hunt for $20 million a
year? Robert Hunt, yeah.
That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money.
But they didn't pay. They literally that 20 mil was part of the Brian Burns 30 mil that they was probably gonna have to pay. I mean, they still got 10 million to play with.
This ain't a Deontay Johnson topic. Let's move on.
Excuse me, boss.
Next name up is Amon-Ra.
That's serious?
Amon-Ra. Yes.
Amon-Ra.
I was gonna say. I thought you were gonna say T for a second. That was kind of disrespectful.
No, I thought you was too. Nah, Amon-Ra too. I think he's more versatile. He can, he play in the slot. He's not gonna play as the X as much, but I think he's a better route runner too. I think he's better after the catch. He's really good after the catch. So I'll go Amon-Ra. Last name is DJ Moore.
It's DJ.
DJ Moore.
I agree. I think DJ is also, again, a better route runner. He's better after the catch. He's also a big play machine for sure. So I like DJ Moore. I'll take DJ Moore. All right. Let's go with our second to last topic, free agency winners and losers. Let's start off with winners. So far. Sure, cool.
Yeah, clarify that so far.
Who are you guys free agency winners so far?
Based off name value, Washington wins, but they had no choice but to win. They had the most money, so they had to be winners. You could say the Eagles somewhat won.
Houston. I have Houston.
Oh yeah, Houston. Yeah, Houston's a winner. And for what it's worth, based off the news we just got, the Panthers kind of have won because they not fully fortified their O-line, but they signed 2 players on the O-line that are going to be impact players. They got a receiver, something that they definitely needed. Showed up their linebacker core. They signed Josie Jewell from the Broncos, who's a very good linebacker. Maybe they draft another weapon, but everything else they could just get later. But for what it's worth and what they had available to them, Panthers, they low-key sneakily won too.
I got Houston and Minnesota. I did not like Minnesota's original pieces, but looking at their team now, and especially if you can trade up and get Drake May or Jaden Daniels, especially, it's a very interesting team going forward. I love the Aaron Jones signing, even though it's only there, I think, for a year. We're back. I like their defensive signings. I agree with your Brian Flores comment. This year, their defense stepped up immensely, and their O-line is a lot better. Sam Darnold's obviously a bridge quarterback for whoever you're going to pick. I think it's a big win if you get Jaden Daniels, Drake May. And I don't know if it's as much of a win if you're sticking with Penix or Bo Nix or JJ.
For me, I'll just highlight one of my biggest winners of free agency was the Minnesota Vikings. They got Aaron Jones, who is going to help whoever they have at quarterback a lot out of the backfield. And as a rusher, one of the most efficient rushers in the NFL. I think he's like a top 6 back. They got Jonathan Greenyard from the Texans, who was an explosive edge, and he was productive on their team. I think Brian Flores is going to be able to get a lot out of him. They did lose Danielle Hunter, which is a loss, but were you really going to want to pay him that much money? Also, they did lose Kirk Cousins, but paying Kirk Cousins for 4 more years, well, I know it's not 4 more years, but still, I don't think it was a good option. But I think keeping Kirk would have been the worst thing either. But they also paid him like a boatload of money, which I don't think the Vikings should have did. They got Andrew Van Ginkel from the Dolphins, who was I think a good linebacker and stepped up for the Dolphins last season. So I like those moves for the Vikings. Let's get into our losers. Who are the biggest losers from free agency so far?
Oh, I don't know.
You mean
does it count? Yeah, start. But does it do teams that didn't do anything classify as losers?
Yeah, you get to the Cowboys.
Oh, I don't move like that. I don't think like that makes you a loser. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Because
I can
before you
go.
go,
Let me go.
go into it.
The Giants were one of the biggest losers of free agency. Not only did you lose Saquon Barkley, but you lost him to a division rival. You also lost Xavier McKinney, who was a good safety, who they have not filled that hole yet. Also, they paid Brian Burns tier 1 edge money. He is not a tier 1 edge. Also, I don't think that was like a position of really need. They need a safety. They obviously need a quarterback in this draft class coming up, but like you paid him that much money, and your team is still gonna be very, very bad. I feel like this season they're gonna win like 6-7 games. They paid him 5 years, 141 million with 87 million guaranteed. Like he is not worth that. It was an overpay for sure. I feel like personally, and you had to give up a second and a 5 for him. So yeah, no, I don't think they're winners. I think they're losers in this free agency so far. Then you replace Saquon Barkley with Devin Singletary. Let's be serious. So it's like, nah, they have a really big hole at QB, obviously. So that would make your team go. So for you guys to be paying this amount of money to Brian Burns just to be a bad team it's a head scratcher for me. I think they're a loser.
I'm gonna double down on that. Like they did not. You're right. They did not need Brian Burns. They need quarterback. They need running back. They need wide receiver 2. They need linebacker, corner, and safety. Like they literally need a lot, and they got something that they didn't need and paid for it. On the whole 2nd and 5 point, they got a 2nd and 5 from Seattle for Leonard Williams. They just used that. They basically traded Leonard Williams for Brian Burns and paid him. They were gonna have to pay Leonard Williams, so they basically stayed pat. Like they got a player back that they lost and paid him. That didn't move the needle on anything. It actually took away an asset that they could have used for somebody the same type of edge but cheaper. Like you could have got a Chop Robertson or something. He's the same type of edge, but $1 million and not $30 million. They just stupid. I do see like a lot of people like clowning on teams like the Cowboys for not doing much. Because it's a running joke that obviously clowning the Cowboys. But they're a contending team, and contending teams usually don't have money. It's obvious you're not going to see teams like the Ravens, the Cowboys, the Bills, Chargers, even the Chiefs themselves. They weren't going to make real money moves on the first day, not even in the first 16, 24, 32 hours of free agency, because they don't have money to sit there and just spend. Contending teams usually have small holes to fill. And when you pay teams or you pay like a lot of money, like obviously it's going to be a regression period where like the bill comes due and they have to start releasing players, and that's just where they're at. It's not like they didn't want to make moves. They just can't. The Cowboys can't make certain moves and go get super better because they was paying a whole lot of people. The Bills can't just make splash moves because they don't have no money because they was already paying a bunch of All-Pros and Pro Bowlers. Kansas City also themselves, even though they won, they still were paying a bunch of money to a bunch of, great players that they had that they don't have no more. The Bill can't do. They can't spend that type of money. San Fran, it hasn't hit them yet. You see with the Saints, they obviously can't do nothing because they don't got no money. Chargers, they have to let people go because they don't have no money because they were trying to contend. Whether they accomplish it or not, fact of the matter is they can't participate super heavily because they don't just got the money. So I don't think they're losers of free agency. I just think they got caught in a situation where they don't have no money to participate. I can't lose something I can't participate in. You know what I'm saying? I can't lose a race I wasn't in.
The Eagles brought back Gardner Johnson. They did that.
Yeah, not bad. I guess that what Q said kind of bleeds into one of my first teams. The Chargers haven't done anything yet, which is big. They need to start cutting and signing players, trading people. Like they need to start moving money. So I assume are they gonna have people like for June 1st cuts, or they'll keep it longer or something? But like they need to start making moves soon. They need to fix their cap situation. I get they got Gus Edwards, they let go of Eckler. That's fine, but you have bigger issues to deal with. My two right now, I'm gonna be hard towards my teams. I don't know what the Bears are doing right now. I don't mind some of the deals, but we didn't address receiver, and we're not addressing D-line. So I don't know if we're thinking we're going to address that all in the draft, but we haven't. Corner was not a position of need, and we went out and got Owens, maybe for depth. Tight end, maybe Brock Bowers is going to be available for us at 9. We signed Gerald Everett. I was cool with our running back room. I don't mind Swift. It's just we haven't made any other deals. besides not really positions of need. We didn't sign an O-line. We have not gotten O-line help. We have not gotten help on the front on the D-line, and we didn't get a receiver yet. So unless we're thinking to assess that all in the draft, I don't know why some of these signings have been made. Again, we'll see in the draft. That could change everything. And then last, just because they confuse me every year, is Vegas. I don't know what they're doing. Christian Wilkins, obviously a great player. You pair him next to Max Crosby. That's a really good pass rush. But you lost Josh Jacobs, and you got Gardner Minshew, and you have Jimmy Garoppolo. You have Tay, and you have Jacoby Myers. Solid receivers, obviously, and Hunter Renfrow. You can make it work. Michael Mayer. That's a good receiving core. You still need big help in the O-line. You don't have a running back now. Like, what is the thoughts here? Your secondary was not good last year. You lost Who they lose to the Lions? They lost their one DB to the Lions. I don't know him. I'm not familiar with him. But you get torched by Mahomes. I get you beat the Chiefs last year. But it just really makes no sense locking down Christian Wilkins when you already had an elite pass rusher. So I get you trying to really beef up the front seven, but you have tons of holes everywhere else. And the draft assets you have are not getting Caleb and Drake and Jaden Daniels right now. So you have some very big holes, and I don't know if you have all the money to go fix those holes.
My loser was the Dolphins. They lost Andrew Van Ginkel, Christian Wilkins, Robert Hunt, Raekwon Davis. I know they just signed Jordan Poyer, so that kind of like helps it a little bit, but I feel like they're still losers. And this all stems from they're going to have to pay Tua $50 million. And so since they decided to do that, they cannot build a great team around him like they had last season. That was probably the best shot they had at actually being competitive last season with that roster. It did get injured. They suffered major injuries. But now you have to pay Tua, who is not a top 15 quarterback in this NFL, and you have to lose all these players. And some of these players got paid cheap deals, and you couldn't even match it because you don't have the money. So the Dolphins were a loser for me. Jordan Poyer is a cool player, but he's older, and he is injury prone at this point. So I feel, that they're losers. Well, not injury prone. That was kind of strong, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, their O-line is they lost Robert Hunt. They lost Connor Williams. They still got Teron Armstead, but he be in and out. Like, he'll play like 10 games, and that's just not enough. Lost basically a whole Xavier Howard, who wasn't really that good anymore, but that's a lot of factors that went into him not being that good anymore. They don't got no linebackers. They don't got no pass rush. They got Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips, but they both went down the season and the injuries. You don't know what they're going to look like by the time the season come back. They signed Shaq Barrett, but Shaq Barrett ain't who Shaq Barrett was 3-4 years ago. This team was already weak on the defensive end. They had personnel, they had names, but they didn't have like actual production to the names. They're back where they started. Like paying $50 million to it is gonna be stupid. To the Raiders point, the Raiders don't need O-line help. They actually have a top 10 O-line, so that's not really an issue. The issues ain't really offense. They just need a quarterback. That's a big issue, but it's O-line. They could leave that alone. They could get somebody in the back half. Dolphins, they could need a draft O-line. Like, that has to be their first pick, but that still doesn't fix all their problems. So they're also another team. They took their shot and they lost. You feel me? They just failed. A lot of these teams, like, they just got caught by not being better than Patrick Mahomes. And it's the reality of the situation. It's just like,
bro, to go. What can I say, man?
The Raiders with the defensive head coach signing Christian Wilkins, I guess in your head you're like, we don't got the quarterback. We're just going to try and make it as uncomfortable as possible and try to get after theirs between Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes. If we could just get them on the ground a couple of times, maybe we have a chance to win. I think he got fooled by that Christmas game where they got 2 picks and a fumble, touchdown, and things like that, thinking like, oh, this is the way to win. Defense isn't the way to really beat the Chiefs. Like, I don't locking them up is just not going to happen. You have to be able to score. You have to be able to go toe-to-toe with him. And even then, you still might not be able to lose. We've seen quarterbacks go toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes and still lose. Like, it just is what it is. You just got to make those plays.
You also saw defenses like the Ravens last year. The Ravens played good defense last year. You just couldn't make the offensive plays. And obviously, you see the Bills make offensive plays and can't get it done. So, it's insane.
All right. My bad. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Okay. But that was a great episode. It's time to wind down now. We got the trivia. And I wish Jaden was on here because I feel like he would struggle. But y'all two are probably the most like as far as definitely like knowing football players over the span of a time. More the most knowledgeable on the podcast. So introducing a new it's not a new segment, well it kind of is. It's guess the NFL.
New for us.
Yeah. So guess the NFL player based on their career stats. And it says past. I meant stat. Well, it kind of is career path, but I meant stats. Anyways, first player, I'm gonna go with Max. Who is this? Who is this player right here?
Jadeveon Clowney.
Yeah, see, I knew you.
This 2014, like
I knew he was gonna know. I knew he was gonna know off the rip because 2014, and then he only played 4 games, got injured, and then obviously
it was the Ravens, and then seeing him bounce around. I was like, okay, we remember Jadeveon Clowney couldn't find a home for a while.
Yeah, I was because Jaden. I feel like with Jaden low key, like he would have knew. He would have knew, bro. Anyways, Q, what player is this based on their career path and career stats?
What is this? This is a running back.
I think I got it.
Oh, this is Melvin Gordon.
This is Melvin Gordon. Started with the San Diego Chargers, and last year he was on the Baltimore Ravens. I should have just changed it because obviously Baltimore. Anyways, last player. Who is this?
Good one.
This is
Golden Tate.
This is Golden Tate. It is Golden Tate.
Golden Tate did play for the Eagles.
Yeah.
Yep, this is Golden Tate. Man, okay. I was trying to keep it light. I was trying to keep it light for the first time because I'm like low key. I was doing some players like I like. If I'm looking at this, I wouldn't even know. But
these were a lot more. These were a lot more niche than I thought you were gonna do. I thought you were gonna give I thought you were gonna put out whatever people who like Pro Bowlers type stuff. I didn't. No. Guys who were retired.
I'm definitely
I wasn't gonna get this one that fast. But if I would have looked at just the Detroit numbers, I would have figured it out because the 2 years the back-to-back 1,000. I remember like that was like right after Megatron did what he did. Because I'm like he was to me I said Golden Tate was a Megatron merchant. Which he kind of was, as you can see.
I probably just put that all in one TikTok, but yeah, I'm gonna make it harder because I was doing it. So what I do is I just do like a random NFL player generator, and then I try to pick like the hardest person. But I had like at first I had like Carson Wentz on here and stuff like that. Y'all probably got that, but I didn't want to do something that's like super hard because I feel like defense ends stuff like that is gonna be super hard to get for sure.
Backup quarterbacks. Mike Glennon, people like that. Those would be good too.
That'd be fire. Yeah, I'm gonna get in the lab. I'm gonna get in the lab. That was too easy. I don't like my stuff being that easy, but good job, y'all. That was good. All right, y'all. That's gonna do it for episode 79. Probably we have some more content coming out as free agency. I know we're probably gonna do a mock draft really soon. Now we at the free agency, we know what teams need and stuff like that. But if you guys could made it this far, subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video, and follow us on our social media platforms. We are at 487 subscribers at the time it's recording. We're growing at a significant rate. I love to see it. Keep helping us grow and keep enjoying the content. Thank you guys for watching. We are out.